What's up, everybody? Pete with Auto Repair Tips. Well, we are back on the 67 Camaro, and I'm getting ready to install all the suspension. Talking to my buddy, he wants to go ahead and replace the fenders and the hood, and so it's going to be a lot easier to install the suspension parts with the front end off. So here's the game plan when it comes to doing this. We're not building a show car. We're building just a super clean, nice car. My buddy Dave, when he first bought this car, it was willing to go do a little bit, just make a good little daily driver. Well, a few drinks later, that shit went out the window. We are into a full-blown restoration now. There is no turning back. All right, we got it up in the air and we're ready to get into it. Here's my game plan for this. We're gonna start by taking the wheels off. I'm gonna disassemble one side at a time. So let's tear into it. So those of you that have been following my channel a while, you know that I can't wear gloves. For some reason, when I wear any type of latex gloves, they get my thumbs, I can't use my thumbs. They get stiff and they hurt. I'm not really sure why. But this guy came in about a week ago, and these gloves, they're really hard. They're not like latex. They don't flex. There's no powder in them. And I'm not sure what brand they are, actually. But as of right now, they seem to be doing fine. I can use my thumbs. I don't have any allergic reaction to them. So far, so good. So in this video, I'll be wearing some gloves. So the one thing about doing this car, I'm gonna have to do it in sections and in stages, because not only am I doing this car, but I'm still gonna work on other people's cars also. So I don't wanna get too far into it to where I have to stop and I can't come back for 3 or 4 days because now I'm doing an engine job somewhere else. So I'm gonna try and keep it small, do it in stages, do this side, do the left side first, and the right side. I don't know about y'all, but I am not a fan of the small tire like this up front and the fat one in the back. I mean, it's okay, I guess, if you're dragging or something like that, but for a daily driver, I'm just not a fan of that. I don't like the look of it, really. First thing I need to do is soak the stuff down a little bit, because it is nasty. Come on, bitch. You dog. First thing I do is get a freaking new can of shit. So I'm not a real big fan of WD-40. I like the other stuff we use, some kind of nut buster stuff. That to me does a better job. This is okay, but it doesn't penetrate as good as I'd like it to. But that's all I got right now. The shock bolts of the lower half, I'm going to soak them down too. I'm going to let that sit a few minutes and we'll come back and start taking it apart. I'm going to start by removing the shock. The top bolt is held on with a 9/16, I believe it is. 9/16. Yeah, dirty dog. If it ends up spinning, like mine just did, because it's been there for gosh knows how many years, just get a pair of vice grips or something, hold the top half, and just start spinning away at the bottom. And if that don't work, you cut it. Boom, chagalaga. The two bottom bolts for the shock are 1/2 inch. Once you get it unbolted, you should be able to come up the top here, take off the little washers, and just knock it through. The next thing I'm gonna do is take off the tie rod end. It just makes it easier when you're trying to get the lower control arm bolts out and the upper control arm bolt. You can pivot the knuckle back and forth without a lot of aggravation. There's a Cardi key here. I don't know, I see some people, they just stick a damn socket on the end of it and they bust it off, but I don't know, I just take it out because it's just a little bit easier, and really, that was pretty effortlessly doing it. I'm gonna get my impact gun. The reason why I'm not using the air ratchet with an impact gun, I don't know, you just get more speed, more torque quicker. And we are going back with new, so beat the hell out of it. Oh shit, that was my leg. It's a 7/8 for sure. When I take it off like this, I always leave a few threads, so when I go to knock it off, it only goes but so far. One thing about working with older cars, not everything goes as planned. I'm gonna try the top one now. I can honestly say that bitch is on there. Get ready to cut this bitch off. Boom! And the same thing, just for safety, put a few threads on the top one also, just in case it wants to pop out. Just like that. So what I do when I get to this point is I use the transmission jack and I put it under the lower control arm because there's still tension on this spring and you don't want to take a chance on hurting yourself. I have literally seen a buddy of mine was doing a job like this at home, and he didn't take an extra precaution. That spring almost took his finger off. You gotta realize, you know, there's a lot of tension on these things. So if you're not sure what you're doing, you gotta be careful. I mean, I'm careful and I still get hurt. Boom, there it is. So we got the top loose. Now I'll take it and move the jack down, and that will take just about 90% of the pressure off that spring. And you see how far I had it down and it still came popping out on me. Next up on the list is to remove the upper control arm. 11/16 holds them on. When you take them off, you want to make sure that we're going to go back and of course get an alignment, but when you pull the shims off, make sure you mark your shims, how many shims were on the front and how many shims were on the rear. And when you put your new control arm on there, use those shims in that location. That way you'll be a good starting point for when the guy does the alignment. On to the lower control arm. The front bolt is a 3/4 inch on the lower control arm. And the same thing on this one here. I'm pretty sure the back one is the same thing. It's always easier when you're taking nuts and bolts off of cars. If you can take it off on the nut side, it just seems to come off better that way. I'll break it loose just like that, and I'm gonna use a zip gun, be quicker. If I had the right direction, be quicker. So we're changing up the game plan a little bit. Looking over the car, once I got it tore down like I wanted, I was noticing the rot here is on the inside and the outside. It's got some rot on the bottom half down here on both sides. Originally we talked about cutting it here and taking the upper cowl out, repairing the inside and putting it back together using the original parts. But after I get into it, the rust is so bad, and I talked to the customer and told him the best thing we need to do in this situation is replace the upper and the lower cowl. And I got those parts on order. So for right now, I'm at a standstill until some parts get here. All right, that is it for this video. I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Catch you later.